Hello, welcome to another edition to Metaverse in the News. I'm Get Real co-founder Ed Haravon, along with my partner Rob Merriles. We're here to talk about some of the news that's affecting the business of the metaverse and what it might mean for future businesses and organizations as they kind of grapple with how the technology is going to be used in their own use cases. So, Rob, last couple of weeks, all anybody in the industry has been talking about has been the announcement, and then now on the eve of the delivery of MetaQuest Pro. It's the new headset from Meta. It's priced at $1,500. It's geared more towards a business enterprise or professional enterprise user. It has some really unique features. I'm sure in subsequent Metaverse in the News, the audience will get the Get Real review. But here, as we stand, just kind of summing up how the world feels about Meta and Quest Pro at this point, I'd love to get your thoughts on a couple things. Number one, since the announcement, there seems to be kind of an anti-Zuckerberg backlash, so to speak, around him being the face of innovation at Meta. And curious to get your thoughts as to, whether you agree or disagree with that, or, how you think they're positioning themselves with this new launch of hardware.
Well, it was a really interesting announcement, both for what it contained and also what it didn't contain, right? So what did it not contain? It didn't contain any announcements around a new consumer device, right? A Quest 3. What did it contain? It contained a lot of information and a lot of indication of direction on Meta's part to support business consumers, not just because the device is more expensive and more suited in that respect, or to a professional enterprise use case, but really because of the connection with Microsoft, having the CEO of Microsoft on the stage with Zuckerberg talking about the integration with all the Office applications. Certainly there's been questions in the days since to, do we really need to have Excel in virtual reality? I think that kind of misses the point in a way. It feels to me that the real crux of the business announcement is the intention to meet the enterprise InfoSec requirements by having this relationship with Meta. So ours came yesterday, right? They showed up as anticipated, as promised, on the 25th, and we'll open these up, and as you made mention, we'll give our own review here in the next few days. But it's definitely a device that has a lot more capability than the Meta Quest 2, and I'm excited to see how that manifests for developers. Out of the box, it will have some additional capabilities, but the real crux of the value that's going to be delivered is going to be because the software developers over time are going to be able to tap into those capabilities, whether it be cameras that are catching more, that are built into the device, that are catching more of our face reactions, or any one of a number, higher resolution, any one of a number of other capabilities that I'm sure we'll talk about controllers here in a second. But yeah, I'm excited to see what's in the box.
I'd add to that too, just the pass through, the full camera pass through. I see that as being kind of the first foray, at least from the Meta side, into kind of a mixed reality device, and seeing a lot of just at least some of the demo apps that are launching on the platform certainly are looking to take advantage of that idea of like bringing the digital world into the physical world and having those two mesh in a much different way, having people be able to be aware of their outside surroundings. And we've always thought that AR element, or at least that MR element, is really what business is going to be attracted to, and that's going to spur on some more enterprise use cases. So, I see that as being a big uptick, along with some of the other things you mentioned, the partnership with Microsoft, some of the ways that the camera technology is working as being much more focused on kind of that professional enterprise user. I'll flip it to just, you mentioned the consumer devices. No Quest 3 coming then, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, of course, eventually there will be a Quest 3, right? But it didn't come in the fall of 2022. And if so I think that's I don't know what the time frame will be for the Quest 3. There's actually not been a lot of rumor around that. There was some thought that it might be coming out this fall, but then obviously that didn't happen. And so what do we learn from that? I think that potentially it's a turning point for Meta, in that really heretofore they have primarily been focused on the consumer. And then businesses have been leveraging those consumer devices for their use. And they've been getting a lot of, bang for the buck. That the Quest, now priced at $399, has they've a lot of units are out there in businesses, not just with consumers. So this will be, I think, kind of a turning point moment, a milestone moment for Quest, as they are clearly, for Meta, they're clearly going after the business enterprise use cases. And now that that's happened, that'll make it easier for enterprises to kind of pull the trigger, regardless of whether or not they pony up the extra money for the pro, or whether they just feel more comfortable that Meta's focus is actually on productivity apps and business enterprise use cases. That alone will make it so that people will I think be more eager to get in at the enterprise level.
One last point here before we end. Hard to look at anything that Meta does these days, especially Meta with their partnership or with their co-conspirators with Microsoft on a bunch of new initiatives. Hard to look at that absent of what's going on over at Apple. And I'm just curious to get your thoughts from a competitive standpoint. What does this signal, if anything, towards how Meta is viewing Apple's entrance into the market, how Apple might be approaching their entrance in the market? What can we learn from these recent announcements from Meta about Apple?
Yeah, so good question. There's a lot of indication that the Apple device will be more augmented reality or mixed reality focused than virtual reality. You have Tim Cook making many comments about the possibility of AR, and not a lot of positive comments about VR. I think he's called it isolating. And it makes sense that would be the kind of corporate messaging that we would be hearing from Apple if in fact they're intending to deliver some more AR focused device. So to your question, it would seem that Meta is trying to get a little bit ahead of that and try to emphasize with their emphasis on pass-through technology, trying to get a little bit more of a penetration into the market for those that are actually feeling that they want AR devices, that they don't want to wait until Apple announces to get started and so forth. So I think that there are some tea leaves. I think you're right to imply that there are some tea leaves in the announcements from Meta recently, vis-a-vis the competitive landscape that we kind of have all been anticipating would unfold with an Apple announcement. And there's, rumors happen with flow. Goes up and it goes down in terms of when's the announcement going to come from Apple. Does seem like there's people that are increasingly thinking that it's sooner rather than later.
Well, there'll be a lot more to talk about between Apple and Quest Pro. Certainly we'll have our devices up and running here and providing our reviews We've got different form factor. We've got different weighted balance on the headset. We've got new controllers. We got controllers that are adaptable back to Quest 2. So there's going to be a lot of feature and product information that we're going to have in future metaverses in the news. This hopefully sets the landscape for everybody out there, and we look forward to checking back with you again to talk about how things are working with the Quest Pro at Get Real. So thank you again.